Oh, hi. This week I have kind of a surprise project to be working on, which is someone gave me their Taylor Swift Eras Tour shirt and they need it taken in because I have questions. I feel like I've heard a lot of discourse about these shirts, and granted, the fabric feels very soft, but the woman said she's washed it once and the graphics are already fading. That seems not ideal, but I'm not here to fix the graphic. I'm here to adjust the shirt, because the other thing I'm confused about is how this is a small. I don't understand. I generally fit pretty comfortably in like a medium to a large. I feel like this would be kind of big on me. Granted, I'm the same age as Taylor Swift. We were born the same year. I know there are plenty of people my age and older. Like the woman that handed me the shirt, I believe, is in her 60s. So I'm not saying like only tweens listen to Taylor Swift, but I'm just really surprised that the sizes would run quite that excessively large for the audience that would be attending a Taylor Swift show. I don't know. I'm just confused. Because to give the Hives some credit, I've had this shirt for about a decade and it looks, graphic-wise, the same as when I got it. The only thing that is faded is the tags, but you know what I don't care about is what the text on the tags say. It's one of my favorite t-shirts ever, and this is a medium, and it's so much smaller than this small. Anyway, I'm not here to continue to pick apart Taylor Swift shirts, but hi. I assume this is an issue for a number of people that got merch from her shows, so this isn't exclusive to Taylor Swift shirts. Let's take this in to fit like a small should fit. I was actually given another shirt that does fit the person really well to copy onto this, so that is my first suggestion. Especially, like, I'm not doing this on myself. If I was doing it on myself, I could put it on inside out and kind of pin down the sides. I've done that a million times. Giving some wiggle room. Like, you don't need it to be tight. So yeah, I'm gonna lay down this t-shirt, put the fitted one on top of it. I'm gonna chalk out some lines. Now, since I'm taking in the sides and the sleeves all in one go, I am just gonna make sure that like the angle of the sleeve doesn't look weird. And I'm making sure everything's getting taken in evenly, both sides. She said she doesn't actually care if things are kind of off kilter one side or the other, which I appreciate the wiggle room there, but I want to do a pro job at this. So once I've traced those lines, I am taking it over to my domestic sewing machine. I'm not doing it on my industrial because it is a knit fabric. It needs to stretch, and my industrial only does straight stitches, where like I can make it work, but I'd rather get a zigzag stitch going on my domestic machine. So I'm gonna grab some matching thread, load it up in there, and then follow those lines I just marked out. The one other thing I'm gonna do before I actually stitch this together, and you can do this part at whatever point leading up to this that you would like. You can even get it mostly stitched together and then tackle this. But I am gonna unpick a little bit of the hem on each bottom side seam and then the bottom of each sleeve. So this right here, we're just gonna unpick that flap ever so slightly because we want these edges to look neat. You know, if you're in a rush and you want to go the lazy route, you can just leave that, fold it up and zip over it, and then you'll have just like a floppy seam hanging out over there that won't have the nice clean hemmed edge. You choose your own adventure here. Once the bottom shirt hem and the sleeve hems are unpicked, just that little bit either side of the seam, then I'm just gonna follow those chalk marks that I made. You can pin the layers together just so nothing's shifting around on you if you want. Then I'm gonna break out my serger and have the nice pro level seams in here. Obviously I know not everybody has one, so if you want to do just a nice big wide zigzag stitch like right over the edge of this, that'll get the job done too, but I have a serger so I might as well use it. What prompted me to do this right now, and you'll see that I'm wearing the same outfit as last week, is my serger already had the white thread loaded up in it, and I knew I had this project to do, but I was in the middle of a dress I was altering, which needed black thread, and I wanted to knock out this t-shirt project before switching the thread colors to the black. So that is how much I deeply dislike changing serger spools. Not that it's actually that big of a deal or that cumbersome, but it just feels very daunting because there's 4 of them. Current me hasn't actually finished that project yet, but you will have seen it last week. So if you're like, huh, it looks like she filmed these 2 videos on the same day. It is because I am indeed filming them on the same day. The serger is really nice because it binds the edge really neatly and also cuts off any excess at the exact right width to have a really nice clean bound edge. Looks so much better than any other finishes for at least knitwear, I find. When you're dealing with wovens, sometimes you can futz around with like a French seam or something and have things look really neat, or like a flat filled seam, but definitely serged seams. And actually, I know some people that only use the serger for knits and don't do the extra zigzag stitching. I don't know, I just get paranoid, so I'd rather have like double reinforcement because I wear the crap out of my clothes. I'd rather it be as durable as possible. Then once those were all cleaned up, I did go back in and stitch down the hems of the sleeves and the bottom edges. I do have twin needles that I could have used for this, but I couldn't find a second spool of like perfectly matching thread. Okay, I lied. I am gonna use my twin needle because I found 2 spools that are in fact gonna match. Okay, I lied again. I should have thought of this. I'm sure it was a cover stitch or flat stitch machine that they used for the double rows on here, but it's wider than my widest twin needle, so I'm gonna go back with plan A and just use a single needle and it'll be fine. It did feel a little bit like I shouldn't be allowed to handle this because I've just heard so much conversation about these shirts and how expensive they were, and I feel like it's a commodity I'm holding on to. I don't personally want it. I don't know what else I'd be doing with it, but I just didn't want to ruin it. I knew I wouldn't, but there's always that one thought in the back of your head, or at least in the back of my head, but my brain's a dick, where you're like, should I be allowed to be in charge of this thing? Who let me do this? So yeah, it's as easy as that. Just either tracing along your own sides or copying a shirt that you already have, stitching along it, rehemming or not, and just zipping across it. Not everything has to be complicated. I'm good at overcomplicating a lot of things, but I'm gonna pack this up and send it off to its rightful home and jump back to the other project I was working on. But I very much appreciate getting the time I'm about to take off. I have been feeling bad, like brain-wise, but also like body-wise. I think I've been overdoing it for like quite a long stretch now, and it definitely caught up to me. And I had such a like downhill spiral after the last market that I did a couple weeks ago, which is actually where I met this person. So it did get me additional work. So I appreciate that there are extra positives, because that's the one where someone stole a handful of my stuff and that didn't feel great. But having follow-up work and like getting my name out there that much more, this is the kind of stuff that it's not my favorite to do, these kinds of alterations, but I think they're very helpful because it's obviously something people need done. She was not the only person to ask me about taking t-shirts in that day. So hopefully this can give you some confidence to do it yourself. If I can do it, you can do it. Yes, I've had a lot of practice over the years, but that's all it is I've just tried it over and over and over again until I've done a good enough job that I can start doing it for other people. Only because I've been practicing. If you give yourself the time to try to learn a new skill, you can get here too. And this is like the basic of the basic. I know some people are scared of knits. I started out on t-shirts. Maybe start with one that's not as precious to you as perhaps a brand new Taylor Swift merch shirt. Yeah, and you know, I wouldn't be able to take the time off like I'm doing next week and like survive the chaos that has been the past month if not for everybody over on Patreon. Thank you so much for letting me do this. I am going to my new favorite like activity store. It is a fabric store, but they have so much other stuff there, and those are some things I've shared with you since my trip there last year, and I'm excited to like go acquire more things. So it's because of everybody over on Patreon, everyone that watches here, every little bit helps. And of course, everybody that's ordered stuff off my Etsy shop. I would like to kind of almost fundraise for the trip I'm taking with Etsy sales, but I'm gonna work for it. I don't want people to just like hand me things. I hope you're all having a lovely summer. I'm actually filming this on the 19th, so the day you're seeing this will be the 30th. I will have a video on the 7th of July, but I will be back the following Friday, the 14th. Before I embark on another tangent, I'm gonna go. I will see you back here in 2 Fridays. Thank you so much for hanging out. This is laughably big. I'm sorry. Everything's fine. I'm not grumpy about it at all. Also, I just dropped something and I don't know what it was.